Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our last presentation session of the day, which I think is a really wonderful opportunity for us. I hope that you've had a great day and learned a lot from the sessions that we have. This is really an important moment for us as we come to the end of the program year, like I stated, and have an opportunity to think about the year that we've had and are continuing to close out, but then also what comes ahead and be able to prepare. And with that comes creating partnerships and new opportunities to talk with different individuals. And we're so honored today to have LaToya Newson, who is the recently named Director of OCTAE, the Office of Career and Adult and Technical Education at the U.S. Department of Education. So we're a wonderful opportunity here for us to listen to her. If you would like to say hello in the chat, we invite you to say hello in the chat, and you can let Director Newson know where you're coming from today in the chat. We will be having a little bit of a conversation with her and asking her some questions to get to know her. But she is a wonderful colleague and a wonderful new addition to that team. And let me kind of go through a little bit of the formalities of her biography, and then we'll kind of dive right into conversation with her. And we thank her so much for being here today. So Ms. LaToya Newson has been recently announced as the new director, like I said, of the Division of Adult Education and Literacy at the U.S. Department of Education, the Office of Career and Technical Adult Education. Ms. Newson previously served in the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development, where she served since 2017, first as the Director of Performance and Compliance, and more recently as Assistant Administrator in the Adult Education Division. Prior to her work at the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce, Ms. Newson had a varied career as an educator in Tennessee and Mississippi, served as an adult education instructor, a professional school counselor, and a high school science teacher, to name a few. She has earned an educational specialist degree from Lipscomb University, a Master of Education with a concentration in school counseling, and a bachelor's degree in biological sciences. She is currently enrolled in the Education, Learning, and Leadership doctoral program at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. And so she will tell us, hey, y'all, when she starts her conversation with us. But I just want to thank Director Newson for taking the time to do this as she's onboarding, and I'm sure she has got a million things that she's learning and doing, and we appreciate her taking the opportunity to be a part of this Michigan conversation today. So Director Newson, welcome. We're glad to have you.
Patrick, I was almost going to ask, who are you talking about? That sounds amazing. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. I really, really appreciate that.
Well, let's get started. Tell us a little bit. I read your official biography, but we can only put a whole life into a few sentences. There's a lot more to capture, but tell us a little bit about your background. How did you find your way into adult education, and how have you kind of worked throughout your career to get into this new leadership role that you're at?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Again, my name is LaToya Newson. I am so excited to be here and to share with Michigan in this wonderful time that you guys have together. So I'm just honored to be a part of this. So a little bit about my background, you spoke of it. I don't think anyone finds themselves in adult education right off. You know, you kind of accidentally stumble into it. So you read about my career. I started in K-12 education in 2006 as a high school science teacher. I taught chemistry, biology, physical science, and physics. Yes, I am a nerd. It's okay. I take it. I own it. But I did that in both Mississippi and moved right outside of Memphis, Tennessee area, was doing that for several years, and then decided to go back to school for school counseling, and really found that there were so many students that we had that were dealing with social and emotional issues. It was hard to focus on their academic concepts, and I really wanted to be a catalyst to help those individuals in those times of crisis. So went back to school counseling and found myself in the middle of Tennessee, didn't know anyone here, was an elementary school counselor, and then moved to a high school counseling role. Absolutely loved it. And like a lot of my K-12 friends, I was looking to supplement my income. And to do that, I applied to be a substitute instructor for an adult education class through one of the community colleges in our area. So I did that for about 6 months, and an opportunity came available to take on a position to teach part-time in the jail setting. And I fell in love. I found my passion. I found my purpose working in the adult education space in corrections specifically. So did that for a while and then decided, hey, I want to go back to school because I thought I wanted to be a high school principal. So I left adult education for a little bit, went and completed my degree, and then fell back in love with it. I couldn't let it go. So a position came available at the Department of Labor, which the adult education program was located in Tennessee. And I was able to take the knowledge and the skills that I learned both in that K-12 space and working in that post-secondary institution to move into this position at the state level to provide technical assistance across the state, to really advocate for change in our correctional educational space, to bring about some revolutionary change that we hadn't seen in that side. You know, I was afraid to really leave the stability of K-12 education, but decided to take that big leap and say yes to my passion, and it moved me into my purpose. So that trajectory from Tennessee back in 2017 has led me to this opportunity to just be at the helm of this amazing organization. And it's not just LaToya's coming to lead, LaToya's coming to lead. I really want to be a partner with our state agencies and our state programs to highlight the fantastic work that you're doing and to provide the resources and supports and technical assistance that are needed to impact the lives of our students, not just those individuals, but we're impacting generations.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's so wonderful that you took a leap of faith a little bit and
Absolutely.
see where it leads you is pretty powerful. You have a pretty powerful story there. So
Thank you.
hopefully, as others are looking at leaps of faith in their own professional career, they will look at those things too. So we appreciate you saying
Yes.
yes to adult education.
Thank you. Thank you. Just do it. I would tell anyone, just do it. You'll never know, and you don't want to live with the what ifs. So just take the big leap. It's worth it.
It's wonderful. So, Director Newson, in your career, what have been some of the high point projects you've been most proud to be a part of? You've worked in a lot of different capacities, from classroom setting to grand statewide implementation of projects,
Yes.
federal. What are some of the highlight things that stand out to you that you've enjoyed being a part of?
Oh my goodness, that's a fantastic question. I think about two projects specifically back in my time in Tennessee. When I was brought on at the state office, I was asked to lead a technical assistance project. We had just went into a new management information system. And of course, with new systems comes all of this stuff. If you're doing data entry, I applaud you. You are important and critical to the adult ed program. So do not think I'm just a paraprofessional, I'm just a data entry clerk. No, you are the glue that holds us together. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So I took on that technical assistance project, and of course, when we went in, we found out that we had about 2,500 errors that were in our system. So I embarked on a project with several other individuals to go across the state and provide in-person technical assistance to our data entry staff to work on why, not only just to do it, but to explain the why. And I think when we took the time to be intentional about explaining the why of why we needed the information to be entered into the system, our staff was more ready and available to make the corrections and the adjustments that were needed. So we took our errors down from 2,500 to 12 in 1 year, 12 errors in the entire system. So I was really, really proud of that project. Another project that I was able to work with our state to implement is what was known as Project REAP. And REAP stands for Reentry Employment and Adult Education Program. And this was a tablet-based education and workforce development tool that we provided to our incarcerated citizens in county jails across the state of Tennessee. So at the height of COVID, we in our Department of Labor adult ed program, we were not in the prison systems, we worked with the county jails. And of course, when the mandatory shutdown happened, we were unable to get inside of those facilities, and we lost about 68% of our corrections at enrollment. We couldn't get inside of those facilities. We couldn't, it wasn't sustainable to make copies and deliver and try to pick up. So we had an opportunity to pilot this tablet-based project and provide adult education services for the students. And when implementing, we saw that it was bigger than adult ed. We could incorporate all of our WIOA partners. We could incorporate other agencies that were working in those carceral settings to continue to provide services to the students that needed them the most. So we started with a 72 tablet pilot, and it transitioned to over 7,600 tablets by the time I left. So it was beautiful to have this vision in your brain, something that we have been working on since 2018. Sometimes we can have crises that come into our lives that are actually opportunities if we just change or reframe our focus on it. So that crisis opened up an opportunity for us to provide this digital resource to individuals that traditionally wouldn't have that chance. So launched Project REAP, and now the great staff in Tennessee are taking that on to the next level. So it was beautiful to birth that project, but I'm excited to see what happens next with that project.
Oh, those are wonderful. Thank you and very timely too, with some of the challenges and opportunities that we're seeing in our state as well. So thank you for highlighting those projects. So shifting gears a little bit, as an association, we have really spent a lot of time over last year recognizing that we need to honor and recognize our educational professionals that work in the landscape. And it's very timely that this week is National Teacher Education Week, right? And so we're highlighting all of those educational professionals. And we've launched a new profile series called MACAE Member Profiles. They're short one-on-one interviews that we're having with our members, and we share them out with the local community. And it just generates a lot of buzz around the fact that so many of our professionals have had such storied careers and such a variety of different skill sets that they've built along the way. You're a prime example of that. What is something that you admire most about the professionals working in this field that you'd like to share with us?
Yes. So first, let me start off by wishing everyone a happy Teacher Appreciation Week. Put the confetti and all the fun stuff in the chat and all the reactions if you can. You deserve to be celebrated all year long, but this is a special opportunity to uplift our classroom heroes who transform lives and build futures every single day. The richness of adult education, of the adult education workforce, cannot be understated. As you know, we are a community of educators from a vast array of backgrounds. We're volunteers, we're returning to the classroom after retirement, we are college faculty, we're full-time, we're part-time. We are so many things, but most importantly, we are committed and ready to adapt and grow in order to serve our learners. I think about an amazing educator in Memphis, Tennessee, Ms. Brenda Feld. And in spite of her own personal challenges, Brenda shows up to her classroom every single day to ensure that her students receive high quality education, both in person and online, because it hasn't gone away, right? So we had to make that adaptation, but no one can question Brenda's passion. No one can question Brenda's dedication, and no one can question Brenda's heart for her students in this profession. OCTAE invests heavily in supporting adult educators across the spectrum. Our literacy information communication system, or LINCS as it's commonly known, is a backbone of support to the field. If you have not, and this is a shameless plug, I'm putting it out there, Patrick, you can hear me. If you have not taken a class, if you have not participated in a webinar or joined a LINCS community of practice, I would strongly encourage you to do so. There are several new exciting LINCS offerings, including 2 self-paced courses supporting diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in the adult education classroom, and another on the way about incorporating the principles of universal designs of learning for program design and daily instruction. So please, please, please get your accounts, log in, and participate in LINCS. We also know that it's absolutely critical for us to focus on teacher retention. One of the things that we have in common with our K-12 partners is this nationwide teacher shortage. As we engage with state directors, we are hearing that teacher attrition is one of the biggest barriers to rebuilding enrollment post-COVID. So we will be focused in our next year of intensive national reporting system technical assistance to support state education staff in developing data-driven plans. That's the key, data-driven plans and strategies for supporting teacher recruitment and retention. That work will begin this summer, and we will look forward to being able to showcase what happens nationwide. We're looking forward to those outcomes, but we really have to be intentional about highlighting this as a profession. Adult educators are professionals.
Thank you for that. I was sharing with Director Newson ahead of time. She has such energy that comes through, even hundreds of miles away. So you're just rah-rahing us up and cheerleading us on. So thank you for understanding.
It's easy to feed off the energy. It's easy because adult educators we're a different breed. We don't get into this work to get rich. We get into this work because we have a heart and a passion for serving people. And when you can see, sometimes you sow a seed and you don't get to see the harvest, but in the adult education space, we can actually see the fruit of our labor when those students earn those credentials, when they can earn those high school equivalencies, when they can enroll into post-secondary, when they can enroll into an IET program and get a full-time job afterwards, move into a career. We get to see that and celebrate that. So it's easy to feed off of that energy.
Thank you for sharing that. Just so appreciate that. One of the other opportunities we have, and maybe a challenge sometimes, is that we are constantly in our decision-making focused on prioritizing the interests of our learners first and foremost. Mm-hmm. That can sometimes come at a challenge when we don't have the resources to do those, mm-hmm. what we think is best, or based on the performance outcomes and metrics that are put in front of us as well. All of that in mind, learners should be in our first and foremost, at least for us in Michigan, where our programming is at and what we need to be centered on. Is there a learner story throughout your career that stands out to you and why?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm tearing up thinking about this student. I tell people quite often, if the data points become more important than the actual people that we serve, we need to find something else to do. So when we get an opportunity to highlight or think about our student stories, they are our why. I heard a quote this morning and it resonated with me when I was thinking about this question. Experience may be the best teacher, but it's also an expensive teacher. I remember this young lady, her name is Candace Peters, and she came to the adult education program through one of the jail facilities here in Tennessee. She made the decision to drop out of high school when she was really young, and that she found herself in a life of addiction. So her proverbial rock bottom moment is when she ended up being arrested and sentenced to the facility in Greene County, Tennessee. She didn't have her high school diploma, so she ended up enrolling into the adult ed program. And those years of being told no, what you can't do, when she had an opportunity to get in that classroom and thrive, a light bulb, every teacher knows that light bulb moment. Candace had that light bulb moment. She did so well and progressed through the class so quickly that she was able to join a jail to work program with the automotive manufacturing company that partnered with the jail to hire justice impacted and justice involved individuals. I'm happy to report not only did Candace earn her high school equivalency, once she was released from that facility, she was hired full-time. And now Candace is actually a supervisor. Wow. She has been with that company over 8 years now and sits in a supervisory role. So this story just speaks to the resiliency of our learners and the opportunities adult education programs provide to individuals willing to face their fears. Sometimes those rock bottom moments mean that we actually have to face what we've been afraid of for so long. So we provide hope in hopeless situations. We provide pathways to better opportunities. We are the bridge that guides individuals from the pain of their past to the hope of their future. And this is why I believe and why I'm still here in adult education programming.
Thank you for sharing that wonderful vision. Extrapolating on that a little bit, where do you see as we come in fully into we always say we're in the 21st century, but now we're almost like 25 years into the 21st century. Where do you see the direction of adult education programming in our country heading? And what are you most looking forward to embracing as a part of your vision and leadership as you step into this new role?
Absolutely. I'm very fortunate to be joining the Department of Education at a moment in time where the presidential administration and the education secretary are staunchly committed to advancing education and economic opportunities for all. The Biden administration is lifting up adult education because in order for us to continue to thrive as a great nation, we need every single one of us to fulfill our endless potential. It's an economic and a social imperative for us. So we know that adult learners come to us with incredible strengths and assets, and they are creative and determined and brilliant. And with your tireless support to develop the skills and help them earn the credentials they need to thrive, we can do anything. We need our adult learners to be their best selves, and to be the best for our nation. And we're relying on every single one of us, all of us, in the room to do so. So as a part, and many of you may know already, OCTAE supports the field in two forms. So first, we provide the formula grants to the states to fund adult education programming at the local levels. Our other funding stream is called the National Leadership Activities, which allows us to support states in improving the quality and outcomes of adult education and literacy activities. So the president's FY24 budget proposals calls for a $30 million increase to our national leadership activities portfolio. And this includes 3 new investments. So the first one is a $10 million investment to support programming at correctional institutions that use Pell Grant funds to provide access to post-secondary offerings as a part of the adult education program and to provide technical assistance in this area. Just last week, we had the opportunity to dialogue with the director of the Goucher Prison Education Program to make an excellent college education available for the incarcerated learners in Maryland. The program has gone to exceptional lengths. It's absolutely amazing to deliver well-rounded and rigorous experiences for those learners, many of whom started off their journey with less than a high school education, and to support them each step of the way through their coursework and to return to their communities. These additional dollars will enable Goucher and others like Goucher to flourish in this work. The second investment in the president's budget calls for $12.5 million to scale up college bridge programs for low-skilled adults without a high school degree or equivalency. And the third investment is a $7.5 million initiative focused on disconnected youth without a high school diploma. We believe that if funded, these investments will further our efforts to close the achievement gap for our adult learners and to improve their education, their careers, and their life outcomes.
Thank you for sharing that vision and those future investments. We are poised in Michigan to receive some historic investments in education. Something called the Adult Literacy Fund here within our state in the next fiscal year, as well as an investment to our adult education system for the public schools. But then also partnering on apprenticeship opportunities for adult learners without a high school diploma or equivalency, as well as with our state college access network, a CLEP testing transitional program for adult learners to earn credit. So we are excited about those things, and I hope that these federal investments are not just talking points. I hope that they will continue forward because our programming is such an alignment with some of these federal benchmarks and kind of vision. So thank you.
Yes, and I want to challenge you. Tell your story. Tell the story of the work that you're doing. Highlight those student success stories. Those I think we have to be intentional about sharing the great work that we're doing. So I don't want adult education to be the best kept secret anymore. I want us to be able to tell our story.
Absolutely. Well, we're coming to the end of our time, Director Newson. I so appreciate this. probably we could talk to you for hours. You have,
Absolutely.
your heart shines through of the heart of an educator, but also a pragmatic leader about saying,
Yes.
what are the resources and strategies that we need to have in place. So on the days that have been really great, and then the
Hmm.
days that maybe have had some challenges, what has been the common thread or theme that has kept you going? Is there a quote? Is there a mantra that has inspired your work? And if so, would you mind sharing that with us?
Absolutely. I love this question. My background is so unique, but there is a scripture that I live by. It's my favorite. I call it my life scripture. Um, it's found in my favorite book, and it says, "So let's not get tired of doing what's good. At just the right time, you'll reap a harvest of blessing if you don't give up." What that means to me, no matter what it looks like, no matter how hard the days are, there's sunshine some days, and that sometimes there are torrential downpours. But we don't stay in the storm always. And if we don't give up, we're going to reap the benefits. Sometimes our responsibility is to sow the seed and keep going. But what we have to be is intentional. Get up every single day and remember our why. Why did I say yes to this? So yes, absolutely. I'll share it again. I saw that quote come in. It says, "So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up." So don't quit. Don't quit. Even when it gets hard, when we get tired, we can go a little bit further. And doing so, we're going to not only, like I said, we're not just changing lives, we're changing generations. And the work that we're doing will outlive each one of us. It's purposeful, it's intentional, and it's full of passion and heart. So even though you may not hear thank you every single day, I want you to know that I thank you. I absolutely appreciate the work that you're doing, from our classroom educators, from the data entry staff, for our association members and leaders, from the janitors that come in and help clean, to the parents that are bringing our 16 and 17-year-olds to class, and our students. I am so grateful, and I appreciate your dedication. I appreciate your heart. I appreciate your passion and tenacity. And I thank you for saying yes to this challenge, because if we can overcome, we are teaching those that are watching our work that they can overcome too. So don't get tired in doing what's good, in just the right time, in just the right time. We don't know when, but at the right time, we're going to reap a harvest of blessing and see the fullness of our work if we don't quit. So thank you, Patrick, so much for this opportunity to share with the association. And again, happy Teachers Appreciation Week. I'm so grateful for you. Thank a teacher, it's important.
Thank you, Director LaToya Newson, the new director at OCTAE. We so appreciate you. You stroke exactly the vein that we were looking for in terms of your enthusiasm and inspiring us. And please, let's say thank you in the chat. And I would just say, we always extend a welcome to you here in Michigan. We always encourage visitors to visit us during the warmer months, unless you really enjoy you're from Tennessee, so you are.
I'm a Mississippi girl. The world shuts down if it snows 1 inch. So don't judge us. Okay. I cannot drive in snow. So please invite me during the warm up.
We will. It's a wonderful state, and we'd love to spotlight or help you, ever if there are opportunities available, please, consider Michigan as a place to pilot those things, or to reach
Perfect.
out to us for, ideas or thoughts or consideration. So thank you for that. And I wonder, before we go, I know you have to go here in a minute, if we could just maybe take a picture, and we'll get everybody, if we can, that can
Sure.
get on camera, and we will do a quick picture before we go. So let me change over this. And if you wouldn't mind coming on camera, we will take a photo here before we go. Everybody smile, fix your hair, all the wonderful things that we have to do. And we're going to take a picture in 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much for
That's wonderful.
so appreciate you being a part of this. And thank you, Director Newson, for your time. We so appreciate it. And please consider us friends and colleagues in Michigan. And anytime you need
Absolutely.
anything, please reach out. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Y'all have a great one.
You too. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.